resume the recording. All right, we're recording. Perfect. I'm going to move this a little bit out of the way. So, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. This is going to be an informal presentation. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and about the program, and then about the fall courses. And we have three certificate students. So you guys are just welcome to ask questions about the courses. And I'll actually prompt you, Heidi and Amanda, to talk a little bit about your experience in the gaming class or in the Teaching Languages online class. So my name is Edwige Simon. I'm the director of the certificate program in language teaching with technology, and I'm going to give you a little bit about a little bit of information about my background very briefly. I taught French for several years. I actually came to the US from France as an exchange student many years ago, and I taught French for a few years, and then I decided to go back to school and study educational technology, and so I got my master's and then I got my PhD. And so I've been involved in professional development, technology, and language education for about 15 years, 17 years now. And I started the certificate about 2 years ago. So this program is about 2 years old. And it's really a unique program because it's one of the very few programs out there that is designed just for world language teachers, and that's focused on technology. And so it is flexible program. It is offered fully online. And you can take, as a certificate student, there is really no formal admission procedure. If you want to start taking courses, you register for the courses and you start taking them as long as there is room in the courses. And if you want, you can just take one course. Maybe you're just interested in the Teaching Languages online, or you can work towards the certificate program, in which case you need to complete 12 credits. And if you want to obtain the certificate, there are 2 required courses. But you're more than welcome to just take one course to check it out and then take a break and then come back. And so it's a very flexible structure. Let's see. We offer, so it's we offer about 2 to 3 courses per semester, and we offer courses in the fall, in the spring, and in the summer. And we don't really follow the regular university schedule. And so if you look at, and I'm going to go on, I don't have a lot of room to move here. If you go on the website and you go to courses, you will see that the start dates are really non-conventional. And so, for example, the first course this fall will start September 16th, and it will go on to November 11th. And then a week after, we have another course that starts. And then a week after that, we have another course that starts. We have a mix of 3, 2, and 1 credit hour courses. And I just want to clarify that these are not continuing education credits. These are academic graduate credits. And so you could technically transfer those courses towards another program. I get a lot of questions about credit transfer. There is no reason why you could not transfer those credits towards another program, a graduate program, a master's, or even a PhD potentially. But usually it's the university where you're doing that degree that will decide whether those courses are applicable. So I can't tell you for sure that you'll be able to transfer those courses, but these are regular graduate level courses. They're all 5,000 level courses. So just wanted to clarify that because I get a lot of questions. I also often get a lot of questions about scholarships, and we do have a few scholarships. The scholarships cover 50% of the tuition for one course. As a certificate student, you can only get a scholarship once, just because we have very few of them and we're trying to make sure that everybody gets a chance to get a scholarship. There is an application form for the scholarship that I can provide you later. But the way we decide whether or not you get a scholarship is that you apply, obviously, and then you write an essay. It's really difficult. It's a difficult decision. Every year I get wonderful essays, and I think I have 2 scholarships for 50-35 and 2 scholarships for 50-30. So if you don't get a scholarship, it's not necessarily that we didn't like your essay. It's just that we have to make a decision. And the essays are anonymized and reviewed by an external reviewer. So it's an anonymous decision. But we charge $440 per credit hour, and that's really cheap if you compare that to what you will pay at, for graduate credits for, another certificate program at another institution. And we will have a tuition increase in 2018. So this year is a good year to take as many courses at that price point as possible. So let's see, I'm going through my notes here, and I decided this time to not do a presentation because I'm a little tired of slideshows and PowerPoints, and I'm sure you are too, and I kind of feel like we can just have a conversation about this program. But I do have some notes because it's Friday afternoon and it's been a long week. I don't know about you. And so what I was going to do next is give you a little overview of a course in D2L. So let's say that you want to register for teaching languages online. You click register for 5035, and then you have instructions for new students and returning students. Returning students, if you run into problems, just call the registration desk. New students, if you run into problems, call the registration desk. It's a 3-step process, but basically when you're registered, you will get login credentials. And so when you register for certificate courses, you become a CU Boulder student. You get a CU Boulder email address, student ID number, and login credentials to log into our course management system. And at CU Boulder, we use D2L. Can you guys still see my screen? Learn.Colorado. Okay, so we use D2L. D2L is a course management system, and don't become too attached to it. We're moving away to Canvas as our course management system in the spring, and I'm actually quite excited. And so, but as of now, and I'm going to move this window here out of the way so I have a little bit more room. So can you see my D2L window here? Yes, I moved you guys to my other monitor, so now it looks like I'm just gazing out the window, but I'm not. I'm looking at you guys. So that's D2L. When you receive your login credentials, I'm going to log out. Learn. So I'm going to go back to learn.colorado.edu, and then you receive your login credentials and you log in. Once you've registered for one course, you will see this window here, and you will see the courses that you're signed up for. You get course access about 3 days before the course starts. If I have the Teaching Languages Online course ready before that, I'll open it sooner so that you can start working ahead. But just for now, I'm going to show you the Digital Games and Language Learning course because it's pretty typical of a certificate course. And I'm going to go to view as a student. So that's a typical certificate course. Heidi and Amanda, and if whoever's taken a course before, you're familiar with that window here. At the top here we have the home page. I use the news widget to communicate with students. I post messages and I share information. This is the content tab. I'll go there in a minute. The main class document. And then the discussion board, a link for video conference meetings. So in some of the courses, we have live sessions, in which case you just click on the Zoom meeting link here to just enter the live session. Check your grades, find somebody else's email address in the class list. I want to go back here to the main class document. When you register for courses at CU Boulder, you get a CU Google account, and this is what we use to create all of our assignments because we share everything that we do. We comment on everything that we do. It's very collaborative. And so D2L does not have a really good system for sharing assignments. So I'm just using a main Google document, and in the main class document, everybody in the class has a section, and this is where they paste links to their assignments. So then when it's time to go and comment on each other's work, we can find everything in one place. I'm going to click on the content here, and I'm going to show you a sample week. So this is the digital game course, and the digital games and language learning course is ending. Both Heidi and Amanda took it. Amanda last summer and Heidi this summer. And so usually we cover 1 unit per week. I want to go back here. So you will see all the weeks here on the left side. And if you click on week 1, everything you need for this 1 week is here. I've experimented with a different design, but I've just found that I really like this design best. So I think I'm reverting back. But at the top, you will have a summary of what you need to do that week and when it's due. So for example, you have to read the unit introduction, read the articles, answer 2 questions on the discussion board, engage with your classmates. And then in the first week of the digital games and language learning course, we played Words with Friends. And then at the end of that week, we had a deliverable where we all collaborated on the document and we talked about ways that we could use it in the classroom. So we do that a lot in the certificate courses, just because whenever we have a technology exploration, if somebody, you know, everybody in the class is going to explore a tool, but if you have 11 students in the class, at the end of the unit, you have 11 explorations to learn about, which is kind of nice. It breaks out the work. So maybe you didn't like the tool that you decided to explore, but you'll get to learn about 9 others that your classmates explored. And then if you scroll down, you get the introduction. You get a direct link to the readings, a direct link to the discussion board, and a link to the deliverable. So everything is really in one location. So that's a sample course. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to, well, turn off my email so that they stop coming in. I should have done that sooner. There. And so I'm going to close this window here. I really need a bigger screen. Close this, and I'm going to talk about the fall courses. If you have a question, just unmute, or you can also use the chat. You can use the chat room to ask me questions, or you can also use the chat room to ask questions to Amanda or to Heidi. There we go. I'm going to close this. All right. So if you don't have any questions, I'm going to continue, and I'm going to zoom in on our fall courses. So this fall, we are offering 3 courses. The first course starts September 16th, and it is a course on teaching languages online. So it's a very interesting course. Like all the certificate courses, it's project-based. And at the end of the course, usually you have a finished product that you can actually use with your students. And usually there is a requirement that you try whatever you build with at least 4 students. I'm not asking you to try it with all of your students, but it's very useful to, you know, pick your 4 students with whom you have a good relationship and who will give you good feedback. And so the Teaching Languages Online is an 8-week course. It's organized like all the other certificate courses. We look at one topic every week. And actually, I've just built a course page where you can get more information about the course. I would say that this course is a really good fit for anybody who is currently teaching languages online, has been asked to build an online version of a language course, who is teaching a hybrid course or is going to teach a hybrid course, or simply anybody who wants to build online module to supplement face-to-face instruction. And so, you know, in the certificate courses, we talk a lot about differentiation. We talk about the fact that sometimes students are absent, sometimes students need to spend more time on the material. So there are many good reasons to build an online language course. I have currently in the foundation course a student who teaches Chinese, and her school does not have enough students interested in Chinese. And so she has students who are located in multiple different schools. And so she teaches an online language course, and the only way her school can offer Chinese is by just, you know, getting students to Skype in from multiple schools. So, and again, sometimes it's difficult to offer higher level of a language course just because there is not enough interest or there are scheduling conflicts. So there are many reasons why we turn to online language learning, online language courses. The reason why we have a course is that they're hard to design and they're not necessarily easy to teach. And the biggest mistake that we make is to often think that, oh, I'm just going to port whatever I was doing face-to-face online. Well, it doesn't really work that way. There are things that we do face-to-face because we're face-to-face, and there are things that we can do online to just leverage really the online platform. So this is what the course is about. And so there's yes, I do explore various models of online courses. You know, we, as part of your project in this course, you build a unit, and that unit could be a unit in a regular online course, or it could be an online unit in a face-to-face course. Who was it who had to actually take a leave of absence and how to create an online module? Was it you, Amanda, or I can't? You need to unmute yourself.
Brain freeze. I did mine later, so I missed the last week and a half of class from that summer. So then I finished it this summer for the Frida Khalo module with the program that I did through PowerSchool.
Right. And what course management system did you use?
It's Haiku, or PowerSchool bought Haiku. So I did it through there, and I can share that later if you would like.
I'm asking because Mindy is asking, my school currently uses Canvas. Would it still be worthwhile for me to take this course? So we use D2L as the platform for our course, but for your project in the Teaching Languages online course, you, week one, actually have to go and explore a number of course management systems and pick one that you want to use. So maybe your school use, Canvas or Google Classrooms or Haiku. It doesn't really matter, because you're going to end up developing your unit in a platform of your choice. And I give you a list, and I give you questions to explore. And again, at the end of that week one, you will read your own exploration, and maybe you want to stick with Google Classrooms, but you will also have a chance to look at the platforms that other students in the class explored and think, well, Canvas is actually interesting, maybe I want to try that. So yes, we're really not tied to a platform. The way the course is organized is that, and I'm trying, and let me see if I want to stick to my outline a little bit. I think I have a link to the syllabus here. Syllabus, okay. So that's an abridged syllabus, and if you email me, or actually if you're in this session, you probably got a copy of the syllabus. So I'm going to scroll down to our weekly division. Let's see. So week one, we look at online language learning and myth and realities. And really, it's a week, and it's a really important week, because it's the week where we examine our own beliefs about, teaching online and teaching a language online and whether it can be done. I've had so many people tell me, oh, there is no way. There is no way this can be done. Well, it's been done. It's being done. But we really talk about our beliefs, but we also look at the research. This has been researched, so we don't just have to rely on our opinion. And this is an important week, because if you start looking into online language learning, you will have a lot of conversations with your administrators, with your colleagues. And so this is a week that really gives you actual data for you to have conversations. And then week two, we talk about the best practices. And I think it is week two where you start looking at the course management system. Maybe it was week one. And I think, okay, week three, we talk about course material selections. We talk about using your textbook versus using OERs. We talk about week four, designing activities for the interpersonal mode of communication. So we really, in the course, we explore the many different aspects of online learning, how to build a course, how to communicate with students, how to establish teacher presence. And we talk about, the higher level of how do you organize an online course so that when my students log in, they're not completely confused. And frankly, if you've never taken an online course before, take an online course, because you will be in your students' shoes. You will experience their side of the story, which is another benefit of the course. But we'll also look at the very detailed, at how do we create activities for, to help students develop their speaking proficiency. We talk about how do we give feedback. So we really explore how to build a course, how to build the individual activities. We talk about feedback. We talk about where to go to find the resources. Are you going to use your textbook? Or are you going to use a different textbook? So we talk about assessment. And every week we actually also talk about intercultural competence. But every week you build one portion of your final project. And so Amanda and I went and I dug up your main class, your main project, your final project. And so at the beginning of the course, what you set up is what we call the final project document. And if you've taken a course with me, it's going to look it's going to look familiar. And so, at the beginning of the course, you talk about what is your unit going to be about. And then you talk about your learning objectives. And I have to hide this because I don't have permission. But what I'm hiding right now is all the students in the class who commented on Amanda's project and asked questions and provided feedback. And so, then you had to pick a platform, and then you had to create some practice activities, and then you have to come up with an assessment plan for your unit. You had to outline your technologies. And as you do all that, every week you build a little portion of your online unit. So when you're done with a course, you actually have an online unit. And not everybody in the class last year was teaching online. Actually, very few people were. But everybody in the class ended up creating an online unit that they were able to incorporate a little bit in their course. I'm spending a lot of time on this. Amanda, do you want to take 2 minutes to talk about the unit that you created? I can stop sharing my screen. Do you have something you can share, or do you just want to talk about it?
I can share in my PowerSchool if you would like.
That'd be great. I think that would be helpful to actually see an example.
Okay. So I designed this unit for my Spanish 2 honors class. We're reading the Frida Khalo book by Christy Placido. And so it went along because I wanted, basically, the reason I wanted to do a course, I wanted to be able to give them information about Frida Kahlo before we started doing the book. And let me just pull it up. So I designed this section. Oh, there it is. 1 second. Sorry, I should have got this ready for all of you before.
Okay. So as you can see, Amanda decided to use a completely different course management system that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, so I teach online through the Hybrid Learning Consortium, and I teach a variety of courses, as you can see listed here. I teach criminal law, ESL, I teach a Spanish film course online, and then I teach different modules for middle school. So these are all starting this year. So I teach Harry Potter and You, it's all about personality, and then a study skills course, and then a street smarts. So that way they're getting ready to not, stranger danger type stuff. So this is the platform that we use through that program. So this is the unit that I designed for the Frida Kahlo. I like what I learned in the Teaching Online course is to be able to really connect, even though I don't know anybody who's feeling comfortable when they start recording themselves and seeing that evil little white light. And so I'm getting more comfortable the more that I do it. But it's a great, all of the courses I've taken with Edwige's program has really started making me to be able to become 3D on my online courses, where I'm very dynamic in my real life, but then as soon as I do that video, all of a sudden I talk like a robot. I don't want my students to think that. So I'm starting to really be able to show them that dynamic. So this is the page that I created. So it has their weekly goals, interpersonal, presentational, and interpretive. So at the end of, this is actually a unit that's going to last about 2 weeks. This is what you'll be able to do. I designed it so that way we would meet on Zoom, the same program that you're using, and to be able to make sure that everybody from the different time zones know where you're going. Like Edwige says, when you're designing it on your platform, is to make it most obvious and just everything in the same spots, color-coded, so that way it's easy for the students to get used to. We organize ours a little differently it's just a different program than the D2L, but basically the course materials, what are they going to have to watch and read, and then course activities, and then I have all the different days of what they're going to be able to do. I like using VoiceThread, which I think that we were introduced to it in the Teaching Online course, and it's great for asynchronous communication as well as for assessment, because you can check a little box that says that you only want the student, it's called comment moderation. So that means the student and you are the only ones who can hear the communication. And then that way you can do, like for your discussion boards, you can do that first to make sure that everything is appropriate and that they're on task. And then you can open it to the whole class if you wanted to, or you can just keep it as an assessment so the student and you can only hear it. So it's nice that you have those different options. So then I have the different sections. Let me just open my VoiceThread because that's a little more interesting than just hearing me.
So VoiceThread is one of the tools that we explore in depth. We have a license so that everybody gets a sense of how it works and can actually use it.
Hello. Well, so this is one of the VoiceThread. It linked to the wrong one. Sorry, I have to update the link. But this is basically, I like to do personal introductions through VoiceThread also. And so it has the different slides that you can put up. On the actual Frida Khalo one, I have different pictures from Frida, or the paintings from Frida Kahlo. So then each student could comment on it and the different levels. So a Spanish 2 student could talk about just the colors and the items that they see in the Frida Kahlo work. But then if you want to do it with a Spanish 3 or 4 or 5 student, you could talk more about if you were in this picture, what would you do, etc. So we have lots of different options. I love VoiceThread. It's a really great asynchronous tool. So
thank you, Amanda.
Yeah.
So through, and I will reshare my screen, through the Teaching Languages Online, what you, let's see, was I in this window? So you will develop a unit. Obviously, Amanda just expanded on her unit and made it, you know, a full 2-week unit. So what you have at the end of the course really depends on how much time you have and how much you really want to develop it. For the requirements for the course are not as extensive as what Amanda put into her project. But basically at the end of the course, you need to have 1 unit and it needs to be in a course management system, and you need to have 1 activity and some learning objectives. And then it's up to you, you know, you can continue after the course, you can continue building your unit and really finish it. So that's the Teaching Languages Online course. It starts September 16th. So like all the certificate courses, registration is first come, first serve. We cap at 15. We have 4 students in the course right now, so there is room. And we just close registration when the course is full, or if you want to take the course, register sooner than later, and we will usually close registration on the Wednesday before the course starts, because this way there is enough time to get you entered in the system and get your course access. What you don't want to do with a certificate course is start it late. It's hard to catch up. So it's better to register and, you know, have your credentials and everything, and it takes about 3 to 4 days. So if you're planning on taking this course, just go ahead and register. And for most of the certificate courses, the dates are on the website, but you can drop it at the end of the first week and get a full refund. So you really can actually give it a shot and see if you like it. All right, so we spent a lot of time on Teaching Languages Online, but it's really representative of the courses we have. I'll talk a little bit about 5045, and this is the course that starts, let's see, September 23rd. This course is a little bit different, but this is a course for teachers who want to work on their own language proficiency. I just wrapped up a section of this course a week ago, and you know, sometimes you teach French or Spanish, and I'm going to say you're maybe not a native speaker of the language, and you don't get to talk to you know, anybody other than your level 1 or 2 French or Spanish or German students. We actually have a very wide range of languages available. And so inevitably, you know, your language skills, it's difficult to maintain them. And I want to say that I am a native speaker of French, but I've been living in this country for 17 years and I don't speak French very often, and I struggle sometimes. Not to mention that I'm kind of disconnected from the French culture. I'm kind of disconnected from the way people talk. I'm surprised by what I read and the expressions that people use. So somebody in their final reflection said, this is a great course even for a native speaker. But just generally, it's really designed for teachers who feel like they need it. A teacher wrote in her final reflection that she teaches French in high school, you know, French 1, 2, 3, 4, and sometimes an AP class. And she says, I'm exposed to so much mispronunciation that, or bad pronunciation, that sometimes I begin to wonder myself how things are pronounced. So what happens in this course is that for 6 weeks, twice a week, you meet with the language partners over this platform we're using right now. And you decide on your learning goals. I show you some learning goals that students in the past have identified if you don't know what learning goals you could come up with. But the learning goals can be anywhere from getting comfortable with the language, talking about culture, and that can depend a little bit on the language partner that you have. The language partner we had this summer was from Mexico, and so the students who were meeting with her really had a chance to explore a lot of aspect of the Mexican culture. But you know, I don't know who the language partners will be for the next course. And then the sessions are recorded, and at the end of each week, you have to listen back to yourself. I know nobody likes to do it, but it's really useful. It's really, really useful. Amanda and Cindy took the course, and then you write a reflection. It's a very open-ended course. You determine your goals. You talk to your language partner. If you don't achieve your goals, or if you end up talking about something completely different, it doesn't matter. The goals are really there for you to have something to start with, because it's a little strange to talk to a complete stranger. And a lot of the students report being really nervous at first, and by the end of the course they want to continue, or they're really sad that they will not get to talk to their language partners. So it's really fun to see the progression. And everybody who's taking the course is going to be the 5th time that the course is offered, and everybody who's ever taken this course said that they did feel like they felt more confident speaking in the target language. So it's a really unique course. In addition to those weekly sessions, which are decided between you and your language partner, you seeing the chat window blink, not monitoring the chat. So in addition to those weekly sessions with your language partner, there are weekly readings. And they're super interesting. We talk about topics that we rarely get to talk about. And so I'm going to go to the syllabus, which I can also email you. Scrolling down. So the first week, we do a really seminal reading on foreign language anxiety, where we look at the research. And foreign language anxiety is actually a thing. And I'm sure we've all experienced it at some point or another. Just taking a long time to load. Week 2, we talk about, and those articles, keep in mind, those articles are really short. They're usually 1 to 2 pages. The first one is it's 17 pages, but all the other ones are three pages, or sometimes it's a 30-minute podcast. Week 2, we talk about connecting students with native speakers. Week 4, we talk about, can language learners become native-like? And we listen to an episode of Tea with BVP, Tea with Bill Von Patten. You're probably familiar with that podcasting program. Week 5, we look at different models for virtual exchange, you know, via email, via blog, via video conferencing. So in addition to doing your sessions and reflecting on your experience, you also get to discuss various aspects of maintaining language proficiency, establishing realistic goals for ourselves. The week on can language learners become native-like was so enlightening for everybody, where, you know, we all realize that it's a silly goal. But, you know, sometimes that's the goal we have for ourselves. One thing that I read a lot in the reflection is this: we are a lot more demanding of ourselves than we are of our students. And so that's a big revelation for everybody in the class. So it's a really interesting course. So that's a 6-week course, and it starts September 23rd. And then briefly, because we are over time now, I talk too much. The last course is called Tools in Practice. It's a great course. It used to be a 10-week course, but I take student feedback very seriously, and the feedback was that it's too much. And so I cut it down to 8 weeks. And now we're going to have 2 versions of this course, one in the fall, one in the spring. And in the fall, we explore maybe simpler, more straightforward topics such as flipped classroom or intercultural competence, digital storytelling. And then in the spring 2018, I'll have a new version of the course where we will explore more advanced topics. So I think I'm going to move I have moved already augmented and virtual reality to the spring. Thank you, Heidi. So Heidi took 50/30. Olga, did you take 50/30? No, you took 50/20. Yes, you took the foundation course. Okay, that's what I thought. And so, but Amanda also took 50/30. And so it's a really great course, and every week you explore a new topic. There are deliverables, and if you've taken the course before, you're going to hate me for this, but it used to be that you had to complete all the deliverables, and it's not like that anymore. You only have to complete 3. But if you want, you can complete them every week. So every week, so for example, if it's a week on flipped learning, you get a tutorial on how to create a flipped tutorial, and you have to create one and share it with the class. And then, you know, everybody in the class watches what you've done or taught and gives you feedback. And then as a part of the course, and it's the best part of this course, is you work on a final project. All the certificate courses are project-based. You decide on a project. For example, you want to create a flipped tutorial, or you want to create a digital story project. And then every week you work on a little portion of your project, a little bit like teaching languages online. And what I really like about this course is that I can actually show you some sample projects, because I have a whole page dedicated to projects that students have done. So here you have Heidi's 50/30 project, which was digital storytelling in the language classroom. You have a link to the YouTube recording. I often ask students to give a presentation on their final project if they want to. And you have their recording and their slides. Here you have Margot and Alandra's. Same thing, you have their presentation, their slides. Here you have Trent's project on virtual reality. This one is a little more advanced, but it's really nice. Student murals by Lee, and then reflexive verbs using Instagram selfies. Oh, and QR code scavenger hunt by Amanda. That was a really good one. So these are all projects that students who've been in the program have done before. These are really good examples of the type of things that you will do through the program. So, oh, one more thing before I answer questions, if you have them. If you're not ready for certificate courses, join the Language Educator book club. We read books. We talk on Facebook about what we read. Heidi is leading the discussion on social media, so we kind of take turns. I led the discussion on Explore Like a Pirate. Amanda, you got the book. I bought mine on Kindle. It was cheap. I still like to read on an actual book, but it was way cheaper. But right now we do social media. We did week 1. We did the intro and chapter 1 this week, and it looks like it's going to be a really good book. So, you know, you go on our website, and there's a link for book club, and then you enter your email address, and then you get invited to, or you request to enter our Facebook group. If you don't want to participate through Facebook, that's fine. We spend about 6 weeks per group per book, and then at the end of the 6th week, we do a Twitter chat. Which, you know, if you've never done a Twitter chat, well, it's pretty new for me too, but it's fun. It's a different form of TV, very fast paced. Whereas the Facebook group is more, you know, whenever you have a chance, you check it out. So we're just trying to kind of accommodate different needs and different styles. But it's fun. It's something that I started this summer, and there's 150 people in the group, so it's working out. So this is all I have. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Anna Maria or Mindy, if you want to, you know, turn on your camera so we can see you, or you can remain anonymous, or unmute yourself, or use the chat window to ask questions. But yeah, this is what I have for this webinar today. I'm sorry I went over time a little bit. Olga, are you thinking of taking a fall course?
Course, and maybe I don't know exactly the exchange, but I have to look at the program a little bit more carefully, at the syllabus, like, because I would like to have some applicability to. Can you hear me? Oh yes, to the like creating telecollaborations within programs, you know, because I feel like it would be such an enhancement to be able to create like and see what best practices are to establish so sort of virtual exchange program.
You know, so this fall we're offering the Telecollaboration where you're doing the exchange, and to be honest with you, it is a goal of the course. I know a lot of teachers would like to do it, but they don't know where to start or how to start. And to experience it for yourself and to experience technical problems, because I'm not going to lie, you're going to run into technical problems, you know. Sometimes your internet is going to, you know, you're going to lose your internet connection. I'm so surprised that I didn't lose mine because I lost it all day. But what the course teaches you is that, you know what, you lose your internet connection, you reconnect or you reschedule. And so a lot of the teachers got a lot of just technical tips out of it and really realized that problems will happen and it's really not the end of the, you know, it's not the end of the world. And so it's a really good course to experience an exchange. And in the course, we do other readings where we talk about, you know, other formats. You don't have to start with pairing each one of your students with a language partner. You can invite a virtual guest speaker in your classroom. I used to invite my mom all the time. And I'm super excited. She was in France. She spoke French. She was in her living room and here in her kitchen. She was cooking. They loved that, you know. And so
yeah, no, exactly. That's like exploring ideas. It's a lot would be a lot of fun. So I'm hoping now I'll have to check my my workload at the beginning of the semester. So I also like the fact that it's not starting right at the beginning.
And 5045 is probably of the less labor. It's the easiest course, one of the easiest courses. It's 1 credit hour. Cindy kind of nodding and maybe she's like, but, you know, you do your session, you write your half-page reflection, you read your article, you answer a couple questions, and it's like, I would say 5 to 6 hours a week. Is that fair, Cindy? And, you know, yeah. Like I said, the articles are pretty short, so this one is just not a ton of work. Now, if you really want to learn about the theory behind the telecollaboration, we have a 2 credit hour course with a great instructor who teaches ESL. She's German and she lives in Hong Kong. Don't you love it? I love saying that. Caroline Fuchs is, she's a telecollaboration expert, and that's why she teaches the course. And so the course is about models, and it's offered late spring.
Okay.
You know,
okay, maybe I could start with one and then, you know, go the easy way. First easy, then advanced.
Absolutely. At 5045, you really can't lose with that course. You'll get something out of it. It's and it's really not overwhelming. Mindy says she doesn't know where to start. Mindy, you're welcome to email me if you wanna talk about where to start. I think it depends on what you're trying to get out of the courses. For your first semester, I don't usually recommend taking more than one course. Once you've taken one course, you can decide for yourself whether you can handle more than one at a time. You know, 50/30 is a great way to start the program. It starts late October. You could even take 50/45 and then 50/30. So it's really up to you. I'm happy to schedule a one-on-one session to get a sense of, you know, what you're hoping to get out of the course, what's your prior experience with technology, because that also plays into the equation of where to start. So how often do classes repeat? That's a very good question. So 50/45 repeats. I offer it in the summer and then in the fall. And then every class is offered once a year, just because, you know, I don't have the numbers right now to justify offering the courses more than once a year. I said the certificate program, if you want to go for the certificate, you need 12 credits, but we have 21 credits worth of courses. So if you miss one class, you can take another class. Now, if you have your heart set on teaching languages online, you have to take it in the fall. But you also have 3 years to complete the program. So if you miss it this fall, you can take it next fall. So, and there is a little bit of overlap. And so, you know, in the in 50/30, we cover a lot of different topics. And then, for example, in 50/30, we talk about gaming for 1 week. But then if you decide that you want more, we have an 8-week course on gaming. So teaching online will not be offered in the summer. It will always be offered in the fall. I mean, unless, you know, suddenly millions of teachers want to take my courses, which would be fine. But right now in the summer, we offer, and, you know, for the sake of time, I didn't talk about all the other courses that are not offered in the fall. But in the spring, we're going to offer 50/30 Part 2, more advanced topics. And then after late spring, we're going to offer the 2 credit hour on telecollaboration, where you learn about telecollaboration model. And then we get into our summer schedule, where we offer a second language acquisition class. We offer the digital games class, and we offer the foundations course, which is a 10-week course. And the telecollaboration exchange, where you're paired up with a language partner. And then we get back into fall, where we'll offer teaching languages online and telecollaboration exchange and tools in practice part 1. I'm fluent in LGTC numbers and courses because I've been doing this for 2 years. But I guess my point is, very few courses repeat. The only course that's offered more than once is the 1 credit hour course, just because I don't have enough students to fill these courses at this point. But, you know, if you find 8 or 9 teachers who want to take it with you, I'll offer it whenever you want. So, any other questions? There was somebody who had turned on their camera, but all right. Okay, well, if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm gonna let you go and enjoy your weekend.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm gonna stop the recording.